Hello, everybody. One of the books that I chose was Raisin the Littlest Cow by Miriam Bursch and Larry Day. Second book that I decided to cover is called Sleepover Duck by Karen Bramson. And the third book is called Bob and Otto by Robert O. Burrell and pictures by Nick Burrell. And I'm going to go ahead and start talking about this one first. I love this one. I read this to my 3-year-old class just the other day. It's about two different animals, a worm and a caterpillar. And I just love all of the really big open artwork that they do for this. They really use all of the page, and you have the flowers and the trees and the differences in the grass. But they draw their characters very, very small. That one is Otto, the little caterpillar. And I believe all the way on this side, very teeny tiny, is Bob, or whichever the other one is. But one of the interesting things I thought about this one when I was showing it to my class is because the pictures include such small details, I really had to get up and put my finger on the worm and be like, all right, friends, you see the worm? And I was holding it way out so everybody could see. And this book is pretty much about passages, about how people go through things and friends split up, but they come back together. As Bob goes on to become a butterfly, and Bob continues on growing into a big worm. And I also love this sort of style that they do, where it's almost comic-like, panel by panel. And it runs both of the two stories, even though they're not together. It runs the two stories side by side. I really like how that includes both characters consistently throughout the entire book. And so eventually Bob gets his wings, and they come back, and Otto is sad about how he didn't climb a tree and get wings like his friend, but Bob comforts him and tells him that, you were doing your own thing. I just love the 9-panel grid here. I read a lot of comic books, and that's my favorite kind of style of comic. And you just have, the really nice, beautiful, big butterfly wings. So we'll move on to another book. Raisin the Littlest Cow. I actually like this one too. I've read it. I didn't read it to the class though. I was there when another teacher read it. I have read it on my own though. But it's the story of the littlest cow, and she so loves to be the littlest cow because all the other cows in the farmyard help her to do things and take special care of her, and it's all well and good until there's a new littlest cow, which is a very relatable experience for a lot of these kids in daycare who have only been an only child for a long time. They're very used to getting all of the attention from their parents, and then new baby comes and they have to adjust because all of a sudden they're not, mommy and daddy's only kid. Once again, really nice, cute, big artwork. It just shows all the adorable little stuff, like hanging out in the pail. Everybody kind of likes being that baby and getting taken care of by everybody else. And so, in the story, she gets a younger brother, and she, all of a sudden, no one's helping her, and she doesn't like the younger brother. And about 3/4 of the way through it, she starts to, want to like run away and stuff. She gets over that. She comes back, and by the end, she goes. She's on her own in the rain before she finally decides to go back. I also really like their use of like simple phrases for talking about each individual picture. We have the big onomatopoeia sounds of lightning, and Raisin did not like thunder. And that's a fully enunciated NOT. I always appreciate when they write things like that, because then me, as the reader reading it to the children, can really emphasize the line correctly and kind of help to portray it like the author is trying to have it portrayed. And then eventually she gets back. She realizes, hey, it's my little brother and I love it. And, I'm going to make sure he gets taken care of like I do. Which is a healthy conclusion and a healthy way to land on how you feel about a younger sibling kind of usurping you as the youngest. Usurping is kind of a strong word there, but still just really big art. I love the way they do this one too. It's a very cutesy style. And we'll go ahead and move on to Sleepover Duck. Sleepover Duck was also an interesting one. I read this to the children in my class also. So I had a little bit of prior experience with it before I picked it out to do it for this assignment. Rhyming. This one does a lot of rhyming. Pretty much every line. Hey cat, my mom says it's alright to sleep inside the barn tonight. I also really appreciate when they have rhyming words and rhyming schemes to them, because then it just really allows me to, then you kind of know how the sentence structure is going to work. I also feel like it engages them a little bit more. And this story follows the baby chick and the cat as they are running around through the barn and doing sleepover dances and trying to stay up later than the other. And of course, that never works out. People always fall asleep. One of the interesting parts about this one is that you also have a little character that starts popping up, an owl, who just keeps hooting and they can't figure out who is doing it, and so they have to try and find him. They do find him by the end. Here's another page. I liked the way that they use the box style comic to show the chick struggling to get up the stairs. I thought that was a really good one just with 3 panels. And here's another one I thought was kind of cute, because then you have the chick at the top, the cat in the middle, and they still haven't found him, baby owl hanging out in the back. Still, once again, a good one as far as atmosphere. It shows lots of night skies and stars and stuff, and is really sweet. And they keep going back to that nice comic style, which also allows me to like read up here and then read down here and then here, or I can kind of, oh look, he did this and then he's climbing up and oh, he fell asleep. It feels like it gives me a very easy way to portray what's happening to the children. And I've gone almost double my time limit. But I thought that all of these were really good. And I've read them with the kids in my class, so I know if you can really get them all to focus, they will really engage in some of those stories if you just start into it strong and they are understanding you and they're interested in what they're seeing. But yeah, those are my 3 books. Thank you for listening.